Simple deduction. Your cane told me everything I needed to know. I was after a strong middle-aged man with a keen interest in adventure, noble blood, and affection for strong drink. And if one were to go further, one may even be able to extrapolate your name from your heraldic symbol, Lord Craven.
Frogwares has a long-standing history with Sherlock Holmes spanning over 8 games, and with that experience, now comes Sherlock Holmes Chapter One. This prequel focusing on a young Sherlock as he sets out to become one of the greatest detectives of all time. But with Frogwares' last game, The Sinking City, they got some new tricks up their sleeve. Oh, and if you want to buy The Sinking City, just make sure you don't buy the Steam version, cause Frogwares' original publisher decided to be scummy and mess with the game, which is a shame cause Sinking City is pretty fantastic. Now, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is a mystery game, which, I mean, you could probably figure that out just by who's the main character, but you know, the internet isn't the brightest place, so. You play as Sherlock, who had just returned to his hometown years after the death of his mother. Here, Sherlock is thrown into an entire spiderweb of mysteries that are related and unrelated to his mother's mysterious past. Now, you might be a bit intimidated by being tasked with solving mysteries, and trust me, I was too, because I'm not exactly the brightest person. I was a liberal arts major, for God's sake. However, Frogwares does an excellent job with making this game accessible to mystery fans and people with single-digit IQs such as myself. The game offers a customizable difficulty option where you could choose how easy certain mechanics are, or even make them harder. With these options, solving mysteries becomes much less stressful to those new to the genre. There are a wide variety of mechanics to help you solve mysteries, all ranging from crime scene analysis, chemical experiments, and the Mind Palace, where you connect pieces of evidence that will lead to the creation of deductions. Once you have enough deductions, you can piece together an outcome to accuse the suspect in question. However, just cause you get an outcome doesn't mean that is what happened. The game does a great job of throwing many red herrings at you. And if that wasn't enough, in the cases I've played, each suspect had multiple reasons why they could have done it and why they couldn't have. In fact, picking the final outcome is probably the most engaging part of the game. I spent so much time going over every single piece of evidence I had to support my theory, and each case constantly had me switching theories because I started linking new evidence together that I hadn't connected before. You know in those crime shows how there's always that one detective that is just unrelenting in their investigation, going over each nook and cranny they had? Yeah, this game had me turn into that guy, which is really a testament to how engaging the cases are. While choosing the outcome is the best part of the game in my opinion, the process of investigation is also great. The mechanics the game presents are simple but have some depth to them. And as you gather clues, you start making connections and theories on the fly, which causes the cases to really grip your attention each time. The best part is the game really does not hold your hand. You are meant to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. That sounds intimidating, but with the experience Frogwares has with the genre, they are more than capable to pull this off. Because the way the evidence is structured and the hints that the game give you offer just enough for something to click in your head and send you off into your next investigation point. When this happens, you honestly get that Jimmy Neutron brain blast feeling, and I gotta tell you, it feels great. I'm not gonna say this game makes you feel like Sherlock Holmes, cause that little shit was pulling out stuff during dialogue I never even caught, but it does make you feel smarter than you normally feel. Now with managing clues, different locations and objects of interest, you would think this game might be a bit visually cluttered, but Chapter 1 has a surprisingly minimalistic UI design that doesn't feel like it's invading your personal space, while also presenting all the important information you need. This helps you get more engaged with the environment around you, allowing you to focus on your detective work. Now, combat isn't exactly something you would associate with a Sherlock game, but I think Chapter 1 puts an interesting spin on it. Since Sherlock isn't exactly your Call of Duty action hero, he doesn't just gun down attackers, but instead he uses his gun to stun them so he could take them down non-lethally. Enemies have weak points on their bodies, and when shot, Sherlock has enough time to run up and take them down. The takedowns are honestly pretty fun to watch because, let's be honest, Sherlock isn't going to do a 360 spinning back kick. Who do you think he is? Harry Dubois? Instead, he has very indirect takedowns using his opponent's movements against them. Or he just shoots them in the foot. That works too. In addition to targeting weak points, Sherlock can use the environment to stun enemies, giving you even more options than just shooting them. Combat isn't the main focus of the game, so don't expect to see it often. But it's got enough going on to be entertaining. Now the game's tutorial introduces all of these mechanics and more, but just when you think you understand the game is when the game throws its fully open world at you, telling you there is much more to learn. The open world adds a scope to the game that hasn't been in Frogwares' previous Sherlock titles before, because those were much more enclosed, but with their experience from The Sinking City being an open world game, Frogwares managed to convert that into a Sherlock title, giving the series something new for you to tackle. Now normally open world games are something that usually push me away from the game or just a straight up deal breaker. If you want to know why, just know I used to buy a lot of Ubisoft games. My main problem with open world games is they tend to have big maps for the sake of having a big map. But thankfully, Sherlock's map only seems to be big at a glance, when in reality, it's condensed just enough for you to easily travel wherever you want on foot. The game also offers very convenient fast travel placements to get you to the more important locations in the game. It helps that Chapter 1 is also a really damn good looking game for its price. You don't need AAA graphics when your environment design, lighting, and shadows are all looking good. Character designs also look great, but sadly their facial expressions don't match the performance the actors are giving. They aren't very expressive and it could kinda distract you from the tone of the scene at times. Speaking of acting, Alex Jordan's performance as a young Sherlock Holmes is a highlight of the game. He does a great job of portraying Sherlock's condescending attitude towards others, while also giving him vulnerabilities that show up in intimate scenes of reflection. Sherlock at this age is honestly a little shit, but Jordan makes him likable and endearing in his own unique ways. Just don't expect him to be 100% empathetic to others at times.
Please help me. The police will surely accuse me of Emma's death. You are the only one who can find the truth.
Fine, but only because it's slightly more interesting than the walls of my room. Tell me what happened.
Sherlock Chapter 1 provides a very promising foundation for the future of this series. If you happen to be a fan of The Sinking City, this game is a much more investigation-focused version of that, and it should definitely be on your radar. However, if you're new to the mystery-solving genre, don't be intimidated. Chapter 1 provides enough for you to take your first steps into becoming a great detective. I'm Chris from Genuine Chill. I'm also sick as I recorded this video, so if you're new to the channel, just know I don't normally sound like this. If you liked the video, you should like the video and subscribe for more reviews because publishers are actually accepting my requests for review copies now. I'm gonna go have some tea and crumpets, but I hope to see you next time.